Okay, the streaming to our social media has gone live, and it looks like we already actually have 1 or 2 people watching from there. So whenever you're ready, Murray, feel free to start.
Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you today for joining. If you're listening to a recording, you can email any questions later after the recording, and I'll try to answer them as best as possible. Today with Raytec, we're looking at lighting for network video surveillance and how very important it is. It's very, very important to have a good video signal overall for video surveillance for security and safety. We're going to look at how important it is and all the big benefits that we have. So without further ado, looking a little bit at Raytec and what we're all about. Raytec is actually owned by Optex, which Optex is a company that supplies motion sensors, lasers, and all kinds of ways. And actually, all these sensors that they make can trigger our lamps on, either through telemetry cable or through that we supply with every lamp, and also with through the network. And the network illuminators is what we're going to really focus on. And I have a little sample one here as well. If you can see me on video, this is a white light. It's a 4 series network illuminator, and we'll look at that a little bit when we come up to the product. So we're a global company. We make all of our products in the UK, in Northumberland, if you know specifically, a little place called Ashington, and been there since 2005. And so we are the world's largest provider of LED lighting to the video security industry, and we also, actually, because we make our own product, and we're going to focus on the Vario 2 series of active infrared illuminators and white light illuminators, and combined together is called a hybrid. So we make them all. We actually also are growing in a new department called the hazardous environmental lighting. I'm not going to be touching on that today, but just for your sake, we can provide illumination for primarily white light illumination for safety and security under the Class 1 Div 2 certification for North America. And they're very much like our Vario, and they're based on the Vario interchangeable lenses you're going to see, and also but again, that's primarily a different market altogether than what you are involved at cctv.net. Now, we are the largest provider, so we make other types of products as well, like even street lights and lights for sleep labs, for you name it, pretty much for any type of environment. And we have a very good customer support team. We're a smaller team in Canada. We're based out of Canada and basically the Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada. And but we do have representatives throughout the USA that can help you locally, and they have each of them have demo kits. We'll look at that in a minute. We do have a stock warehouse in our in the U.S. in upstate New York. Get my tongue tied there. And it's actually a place called Ogdensburg. So we stock all the Vario product there. So no matter what, it's always provided for you. If anything, if there's a wait, it's a 2 to 3 week lead time. It's not that bad actually. So we can have that available. If you contact us, we can give you that information. I want to quickly, that was a long introduction, I apologize. But basically, you're looking at us and you're wondering, why should I really add supplemental lighting to my video camera? Well, really, these are the purposes right here, to maximize the nighttime video capability with a usable image. And a lot of times, cameras with built-in infrared, yeah, they're a little bit more better price point. However, they don't provide a very usable image. We're going to look at that as well, the little idiosyncrasies of these cameras with built-in infrared. We're not going to knock them all. Some are pretty good for short range, but we specialize at Raytec in the long range and a real wide beam pattern. So another reason is for security, detection of problems, improving safety, gathering evidence, and acting as a general site management tool. So for court cases, you need to have a good high signal, a good clear, crisp image of a person's face, and even in color, to see what they're wearing. Also, supplemental lighting in the active infrared area it lowers bit rate and storage of IP video to capture better image of retroreflective license plates and then finally to deter perpetrators with white light. So let's look at this stuff. We offer both active infrared and white light. So this is a scenario actually of our hybrid unit. So the hybrid has both IR LEDs, that means it produces or emits, it actually irradiates light, which is invisible to the human eye. So the guy on the right picture, on the side of the picture there, is standing around a car, and we have video motion detection set with the camera software, where if he loiters over 5 minutes around that car, then the white light comes on, blasting white light, and you can see it. And in fact, it will then indicate to that perpetrator someone is watching them on video. And you can have that white light flashing. You can have it strobing in different ways. So then when the perpetrator leaves and is scared away, then it goes back to infrared. So actually the lamp called our hybrid, we're going to look at it in a little more detail, shares the power. And it's been the most popular that we're selling the most of at Raytec. So that is available now. Of course, active infrared and white light are two separate illuminators if you want to get a long range. Active infrared is invisible to our eyes. White light is not, and it's a lot of times you cannot use white light illumination. Another important factor is white light does not emit as far. It doesn't beam as far as an active infrared illuminator would. So it basically illuminates, the active infrared illuminates about twice the distance of white light. So anyway, so that's a little synopsis of the two types of light we offer. In the electromagnetic spectrum, just a little bit more information on that. The active infrared comes in two wavelengths, we call it. So within the electromagnetic spectrum, we measure things with nanometers. So from what we can see, from 400 nanometers here to basically 780 nanometers is what we can see. So from the color ultraviolet all the way to the color red. And then right beside active infrared comes a point where you cannot see the light that's emitted onto the scene, and that's 850 nanometer infrared, which we sell the most, and 940 nanometer, which is invisible. So, of course, when I say it's invisible, totally covert, when you look back up at the lamp when it's powered up and it's illuminated the camera, and you're in the scene of the camera, and you look back at that illuminator, LEDs do not emit a red glow. So there's also the red glow actually on the 850 nanometer acts as a deterrent as well. So there's a slight red glow when it comes off, but if the police don't want anyone knowing where the camera is located, you want to use 940 nanometer. Now, there's one very important factor. 940 nanometer does not emit the red glow. So what we're doing is we're filtering light away to remove the red glow, which is a concentrated light coming off of the LEDs. We're also limiting the distance in half. So just like white light, the 940 nanometer infrared only provides half, or less, probably only 40% of the distance of that of the 850. So 850 nanometer is going to get you the best range and will work the best. So that's it for the theory end of this. I apologize. But it is an important thing to know all these details. So for today's technology, all the cameras that are involved in the network and the Internet of Things, they're becoming higher resolution. I think they're kind of stabilizing now around the 4K, maybe up to 8K, which is like 16 million pixels. So a lot of detail involved in video, and to get those tiny, tiny pixels, to get light back to them is an important thing to get a good high signal video, to get a really good crisp image, especially if your camera has a really powerful lens. So there's other factors as well. There's the analytics software, the brains of the camera. In order for their algorithms to follow someone, we're going to see a video that shows this. You need to have lighting, and active infrared provides you that lighting power. And then, of course, lower cost is the ultimate and the bottom line. We offer a PoE power that's actually a lower price point than our low voltage version. So you're going to see that every lamp that we provide, and it doesn't matter what type of camera it is, it always provides the same illumination from our very tiny number 2 series illuminators right up to the 16. They all have the same performance, the same illumination factor, but just sometimes more powerful. Now here's a video I'm going to show you. It's really cool. This was one of our test nights that we offer through our reps, but this one's in Finland. And it's a golf course where the gentleman is standing up by the not the tee, but the flag in the hole, 200 feet away from the camera. The lamp is actually a double panel 8 series lamp, the VAR2 IE2. Typically, this is used on a lot of substations and critical infrastructure throughout Canada and the USA. And it provides, as you can see, beautiful illumination. And the reason is that is because, if you can see on my video, I have a lamp. Now, this is white light. If it was active infrared, it would be a black lens. This lensing feature is called I'm forgetting the name of it again already, but it'll come back to me. So it's evenly illuminated because it's the light is dispersed beautifully. So if you took a microscope and you zoomed in on the material that we use, it's actually a prism, little tiny prisms that break the light up. So you can see on the screen, it's actually a video we're going to turn on in a second here. It shows there's no hotspots whatsoever. So one last thing I want you to recognize is the green arrow above here that's pointing out the bit rate. Right now with the light on, it's 1.39 megabits per second. So as you can see, when I turn the video on, and I'll do that right now, you'll notice that as soon as the light goes off, it's going to double in bandwidth or the bit rate. So he's walking around in total darkness. Now the light is off. I'm just going to stop it for 1 second. You can see this is what a low light camera would be. It's a 2 megapixel camera. It's virtually useless. You can see that there's someone walking out there, but we don't know if that's a Sasquatch, if it's a golf course employee, if it's one of the Raytec staff doing the test night. You can't really tell who it is, and the bit rate just doubled. So it's very crucial to have lighting on the scene, especially if you want long-range illumination. Basically, 312 feet is really not that far, and considering the fact we can also do distances with our illumination up to 1,500 feet. Let's turn that video back on again, and the light's going to come back on. It's all pixely. The bit rate just went through the roof, and the light comes on instantly. It actually beats the latency of a network camera, and it will last you 10 years. Got a 5-year warranty on all these lights, and as you can see, he's got a flashlight out here. But beautiful illumination, and it's specified to the 312 feet for these two 60-degree lenses. So we actually took out the lens inside the lamp in the base plate. It actually fits in here, so that you can shape the beam to match the varifocal lens or the PTZ camera lens. So very smart. We've got installers that just love this performance. So active infrared, just like we just saw, is always operates with the black and white portion of mode of the camera. So when it gets dark, the photocell or some sort of sensor will change the camera from color to monochrome. So when someone's moving, and if you don't have active infrared, it's going to turn out to be motion blur. It's going to be image lag, or we also call ghosting. And this is another video I'm going to show you. This scene that you see on the screen is actually low light pink. So there's only a little bit of light coming underneath the doors, and we can actually see, it looks just like daylight there, but really it's a black hallway. Now this gentleman's going to walk out. It's our smallest, it's a 2 megapixel camera, not our camera, but as you can see, the aperture is wide open to get the best image, and a little tiny bit of white light washes out the image. No way I can stop that image to get a good face because there's so much image lag. Now we turn the lamp on. It's our smallest 2-series illuminator with 60% intensity. You can see it's a much crisper image. You can see now the white light doesn't overrule and doesn't wash out the image. So now if I stop it, I can get a good picture of his face if I went frame to frame. Unfortunately, this was 15 frames per second. It should have been around 20, 21 frames per second. But at least you can get a good image from this. So this would stand up in court. So that's what it does. It gives you a good signal and improves and removes the image lag. Now, we're going to look at some of the cameras with built-in infrared. In this case, it was a dome camera with LEDs built in. And what happens here with these cameras with built-in infrared, typically LEDs or light-emitting diodes produce a lot of heat. And as a result, the heat stays inside that dome. It's great in the wintertime. Uh-oh, I just lost my computer. Oh, my apologies. I don't know what happened. I think it's doing an update.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, sorry about that. We may have to do this.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. Oh.
No worries.
what I could
Surprise
do
update.
okay, why does it do it in the middle of a webinar? Oh, sorry about that. What I could do is
It's okay, Murray. It happens.
I'll get you another record. I'll do a new recording and I'll send it to you. Oh man.
Okay, it's fine. It happens.
Sorry about that.
No worries, man.
And I set this up to go on after 5 o'clock. I don't know why it's doing it now.
Huh. Sometimes they really just sabotage you with them, huh?
And if you can hear me watching this, oh, my apologies. We'll get this set up and we'll have it on the webpage, cctv.net. Sorry about that.
No worries, Murray. It happens. Yeah, if you could just make a recording of this sometime today at your leisure, and then send it over to me. We'll upload it to our social medias, and we'll get the finished version up there.
Trying to do a Windows 10 update. Great. Okay. Oh, it's back now, but it's going to take a while to get back.
I mean,
yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Just logging in now. Oh boy, because this will mess up the recording.
You're still if you're able to get it back up in a short amount of time, we could just hop back in. You know, I mean,
yeah.
technical difficulties happen. The video chat is still live, so.
Is there any questions up to this point, or do we have two-way audio or not?
I've been actually wondering something. We got a couple questions. Can these be set up at the NVR level to trigger white light with motion detection? If the NVR has like motion detection software, or if it has, trigger areas, can you integrate those with the NVR so that the white light actually comes on?
Yeah, anything in the network, especially through video management systems, such as Milestone, or there's a lot of other ones out there, WaveStore, and
right.
Anyways, yes, you can set it up. We have our own app to get it started, and it's called Disco Man. I know it sounds like the 80s, but it's actually a sub tool. And what it does is allows you to change the IP address on your, and it discovers the lamp first on your network, or through a camera platform. And then what you can do is go in and change the address so it matches your network, and then you go in to configure it, which camera will trigger the white light on. So a good example is that I give in this webinar is a perpetrator walks on the scene, video motion detection, figures like the infrared is on, right? So in the hybrid unit per se,
right.
And then it actually, the algorithms realize he's in the restricted zone, so it quickly triggers on the white light where the person's standing with a solid beam, like a solid white light. All the other lights on the perimeter are off. The guy moves from this first camera, goes to the second camera. The first one goes solid, and where he's standing, where he's going to, it goes to solid, and then the other one goes flashing. So the perpetrator, the police know exactly where he's standing because the light is flashing, or he just has to, he flees the scene. So I'm just kind of get back up here. Got to get my email going. That takes a little while though. So yeah, it does work very effectively. I've got a white paper I could send you, and it's actually a Las Vegas country club. But actually, what triggers the white lights on is a laser beam. So the person walks on unknowingly onto this property. That light just goes beaming straight onto his face, and very, very bright white light. All the others are flashing, and actually, Las Vegas Police requires visual verification of the perpetrator before they'll send out a cruiser or an officer to the scene. So that's sent immediately with that white light on there. But in the meantime, at night, it's all active infrared, so you can see everything clearly, but the perpetrator cannot see any light. You think they're sneaking up onto a dark scene, but they're actually being viewed. Yeah, it works very, very well. So yeah, within a video motion detection, a video management system, or a camera platform, or through telemetry cables that are connected to a passive infrared detector, a laser beam, a door magnet, you name it, anything on the network or anything that has that alarm output.
Okay, so you can even use alarm and access control systems to trigger them.
Yes, Absolutely.
Excellent.
It's been done mostly. What I've seen is through the camera platform and also through HTTP commands. And online, if you go to www.raytec.com, there is a command generator. And I'm just trying to get onto my email here. For some reason, it's taking forever. I'm going to open up the PowerPoint first. So, yeah, you can go into this generator and you click off. Let's say you want the light to be on 50% power all the time. Someone walks up to the camera, the light goes to 100% power. So it'll write out that whole line of command. You just copy it and paste it into your camera platform or into whatever your head-end system is. So it works very well. PowerPoint's coming
Okay,
up.
wow, that's some great ease of use right there.
Yeah, so it does everything. In fact, the hybrid most popular we're selling the most network version. Also, it's really cool that you connect in. You can trigger on say a lamp through the network, and then you can also, let's say a room. Someone walks through one door, and there's a trigger on that door magnet. But on the other side of the room, there's another door, and you can use telemetry cables from that lamp to connect to say a passive infrared detector. So it can be you can PoE can connect into telemetry hardwire, and then also you can power PoE up to PoE++. And once you're powered into your network switch or your midspan, then you can power in 24-volt DC as well. So as a backup system, if your PoE goes out, midspan or your switch goes out, then it's back up at 24-volt DC power. So I mean, it's just something kind of cool that we do. So I'm just going to try to find the last. I can't remember where we left off. I think it was the video. I'll find it.
Yeah, it was after the hallway video, I believe.
Yeah. I'm going to get to my email. It's just taking forever. I got the webinar ready here. Oh, yeah, that's right. We did the ghost effect and the removal. And then, of course, I went to the next scene. The cameras are built in infrared, produce a lot of heat, and I think that's where it went down. And,
that's where it went down.
Spiders are attracted to the heat. There's my outlet that's coming up now.
Oh, you get bugs? You get bugs on the cameras?
So what they'll do, sorry, I was just reading something that popped up on my screen. So that what happens is that this is a spider web that's being built around this camera. Oh no, what's going on here? I'm having some issues with my outlook now. I think it's going to be okay. So anyways, it does produce an excellent image. The spider webs are a problem, but now if you have a standalone illuminator, the insects and spiders can congregate around the lamp, but it won't affect the camera. So what happens in the video is it makes this web over the camera lens, and because it's infrared built in, it produces a lot of heat, and you can't see a thing because the web covers everything. I can set that up and show you that later. But if you have a standalone illuminator off to the side, the insects and spiders will be drawn away from the camera. I'm just hoping that this is going to get set up. For some reason, I'm having issues with my outlook. So I got a funny feeling it may not be able to load.
Okay. I mean, yeah, no worries if it can't. If you can't get it back in, if you could just we could try rescheduling for next week. We could do it live again, see if we get more viewers next time, and hopefully get.
I'm only open next week. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all right, Murray. It happens. It happens. It happens. Don't beat yourself up about it.
I want to do it this time next week on Thursday, or I'm busy basically Monday and Tuesday. I got some other training to do. Wednesday's open. Thursday's open.
Thursday sounds good. Let's call it Thursday. I'll put out some advertisements today and next week, and we can just give it a second shot.
Yeah, for those listening, again, apologies to you too. But if you have any questions, you can contact me through actually on the webpage, and or murray.kreutzer@raytecled.com. But my last name is spelled differently. They can get you my email address. Well, it looks like it might be opening now. I tried a second time.
We actually just most of our viewers just popped off after we said that we were closing it. So I think at this point let's just end it here. And thank you, Murray. Sorry about what happened. Thank you to everybody who's been watching. And we'll get this going back again on Thursday for everybody that's still in the chat at this point. All right, Murray. I'm gonna close it out at this point. But I really appreciate it, and I'll see you again next Thursday.
Send me an invitation.
Absolutely.
Like Thursday?
Yeah, I'll send you all the credentials today.
All right, thanks so much. We'll talk. Have a nice 4th of July holiday.
Thank you, Murray. Have a good one.
Okay, thanks.